Welcome everybody to the Lunch Table Podcast. For this episode, we're doing something a little different. We just came back from San Diego Comic-Con a couple weeks ago. Akram just put out a movie covering our trip there. It's pretty fun for the most part. We have some thoughts on it that Akram will show later in the video. But we kind of have a tutorial for you guys because there was a lot of things that we went through that perhaps would help you if you're ever planning to attend Comic-Con. This year was kind of different too. A lot of things happened. Of course, the writer's strike, so that kind of affected our trip as well. But without further ado, Akram, why don't you give us your thoughts?
Yeah, it's our first experience. It was pretty fun. We went through a lot of trouble just to get where we wanted to go. So we hope that the beginning, at least, of this video, and it'll be marked by the chapters, will help you out if you're a newcomer with Comic-Con. So to get started, Dylan, why don't you get us started with the actual pre-ordering of the tickets?
Yeah, well, always keep in mind, of course, the dates. So I think next year is going to be July 25th through the 28th. So, always, let your job know early in advance, keep that date in mind. And also keep in mind flight dates, because that's important, because the closer you get towards the date, the more expensive flights are. And yeah, for the booking of the passes, there is a certain time where you can order tickets, of course. And don't be like me, because I kind of fucked up, because at the time I was moving and I forgot to change my address on the ticket location. So they couldn't ship it to my new address. So I had to pick it up at the pavilion, which actually kind of worked out in a way because we got through the lines faster. But just keep that in mind, if you want to show off your passes to your friends or whatever. But yeah, so we ordered ours around November. So, it could change, depending, just keep an eye out. But for sure, probably around that date, I would imagine, or that month, I would imagine they would be up for sale. And wake up early, guys, because we had to be, up at the crack of dawn just to get in line. If you have a friend, it actually works better because there's more chances you could get passes, because it's kind of like lottery based. So, Akram, we're up at the same time. We were both, on the phone with each other, just seeing like who would get it first. So I think it was me that got in line earlier than you.
In line first, yeah.
Yeah, so I actually managed to get in early. So yeah, that's why I said just keep an eye out for the time. Put like 3 alarms if you have to. And they're gonna put you in kind of like a waiting line. It'll tell you like what's your place. And if you have a friend, it might increase your chances too. I think also, wasn't it, Akram, you could also order tickets for like if you have a guest or a friend or something.
Yeah,
like
you
that.
can. This is where we got mixed up. So we were both gonna buy our own tickets, but if he was in line first, then I was like, okay, well, I don't know how long I'm gonna take here, so I'd rather for you to buy my ticket for me, right? So and I could give you the money or whatever. And what happened was you can add a guest, but it's a little finicky how you do it. And so what happened was, all of a sudden, I was in my queue, and he was like confused too. So we ended up actually buying each other's passes. So
I don't know how that worked.
Yeah, so he bought my pass. It came to my house, and then of course he moved, so he had to go pick it up at the pavilion. It was really weird. I don't know what happened, but just keep that in mind, just in case. Like, just take your time, not really, but take your time. Like, make sure you take it all in and be really thorough of what you're about to do, because it is important. Because when you get there, you don't really want any hiccups, because you have to wait so much at Comic-Con. And
and make your account early, because you have to you have to make a member login. So do that early. Because you don't want to take time creating an account while you're supposed to be in line. So do that early, put all your information. You can save your credit card information just for ease of access. So that's just ordering the tickets. And then once you go through all that, you just pray to God that you get the pass. It is, like I said, lottery based, so it's not guaranteed. So just keep that in mind. Yeah. But we were fortunate enough to, get our passes. And even though we got each other's passes, we were still able to go. So they'll usually ship it to you in the mail a couple weeks before the opening of the convention center. So, Akram, what else did we do after that? We booked our tickets, right?
Yeah, so yes, but we also booked a place to stay at. Now, this was, you'll see from the movie that we did, that we had issues with the Airbnb that we were staying at. So if you can, I'd recommend at least they have a hotel like the Marriott next to there. Apparently, it seems like the official Comic-Con place to stay. I bet with you that's going to be super expensive, and I bet with you would have to like book a room really early. So I don't really know the prices, but I'm pretty sure it's expensive. You could either go to there or to Hyatt or something like that. Why don't you tell them about our Airbnb experience?
Well, it didn't go the way I thought it was gonna go. But you know, you also have to budget too. You know, you have to think about your budget, how much you know you're putting into it. If you're gonna buy stuff at the con, you know, expenses, travel expenses, whatever. So I was trying to keep that in mind when I was buying our tickets. So and of course, you know, the earlier, like I said, you book the tickets and the hotel reservation, the cheaper you'll probably get like a discount or something. So I never had problems with Airbnb until our trip. I always had a pretty, you know, positive experience. So I was actually surprised when, you know, when we were on our trip and it just happened that you kind of get scammed, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But not to say not all Airbnbs are bad, but I would just, you know, keep in mind the other hotel. If you're on a, you know, budget, you know, you could Airbnb just you know, make sure, you know, they're legit, you know, talk to your host, right? And then, you know, always keep in mind the location, you know, how far away from the convention center you're going to be. Like Akram said, you could do the Marriott. It's going to be a little pricey, but you're already there, right? And it's already connected to the convention center. So all you have to do is like walk 10 minutes. So the location we had originally planned for was like only like a couple blocks away from the convention center. But I mean, now I'm thinking about it, it doesn't really matter how close you are because you're going to be caught in a line. It just depends like how early you want to go, right? Because the lines, they start early, but the convention doesn't open, I think, till like 9 or 10 o'clock anyway. So it just depends like how far up the line you want to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, keeping that in mind. You know, you always want to, if you're traveling with friends too, you always want to keep in mind how many people you're going with. If it's just you, it'll probably be easier. But if you're going with a friend too, you want to keep in mind how many bedrooms or rooms that you're booking as well. How many tickets, you know, for the plane too.
Mm-hmm.
So budgeting is key, like any trip you would do. And we went through Southwest. Southwest, I've always gone through. They're pretty reliable. I never had a problem with them, but you know, maybe you want to travel through a different airline. I don't know, but Southwest is the best. I would recommend it. If you have also like rewards through like a Hyatt, I just recently got a Hyatt membership. So perhaps next year if we go, I'd probably use my points towards that. Anything else you want to add to that, Akram?
Yeah, I mean, just be aware because it is a really heavy area. There's a lot of traffic. You can't really. This is kind of jumping forward a little bit, but you can't really order an Uber close. It's somewhat close, but you actually have to walk a good distance away from the convention because the Uber is just impossible to get there, and plus the streets are closed too for like pedestrian traffic and whatnot. So I mean, all these things take in mind. It may sound a little bit complicated, but the key is if you're early, you're playing it a lot more safer, right? And just be careful. I mean, we were early, we got scammed with the Airbnb, so it's up to you. You know, you take that in consideration. What's more reliable to you? What do you think will be safer for you? Should you spend a little bit more money here, or whatever? It's completely up to you. Just make sure that you're early. That is the key. We might as well move on to the actual attending.
Well, also, one thing I want to mention too before we move on. So the con, like any con, is usually like a whole weekend. It usually starts on like a Wednesday as like the opener night, and it goes all the way up to Sunday. Usually when you attend a con and you expect like big panelists, I always shoot for the earliest day, which is like a Thursday or Friday. So you could get away with Saturday too. Because that's usually when the heavy hitters, you know, if you want to see panels, you know, I would do the earliest one as possible. So we got Thursday, Friday passes. But if you're just looking for a day to just like kind of like relax, walk through the con, see like the vendors and stuff, I would recommend just doing like a Saturday, Sunday. But remember, that's, you know, vendors are closing around that time too. So if, you know, you might not see as many things you want to see on Sunday as opposed to like Friday. So just keep that in mind.
So, you know, and also keep in mind too, we're speaking about this right now. It is 2023. So maybe you're seeing this in the future. Hello, future people. And this probably is going to apply as well. when you take an Uber, which I recommend just taking an Uber or something like, unless you're insane and you're looking for parking if you live there. But when you actually get there, it may seem really confusing. You're going to be swarmed by a lot of people. Keep in mind that there's like about 100,000 people that attend Comic-Con each year, more or less. And when we first arrived, I could not believe how huge the line was. And we were like at a good time. It's interesting because, believe it or not, the ushers that work there, they're actually really good at their job. Like, everything is really clean and efficient. You just scan in, you go. The only problem is you're going to be walking a lot and waiting a lot. So I would recommend bringing comfortable shoes or anything you want to wear. Like, make sure it's comfortable. You're going to be sweating a lot. Okay. You will get into places at a good pace. The line seems intimidating, but believe it or not, it moves pretty fast. But just keep in mind, the early bird gets the worm, but the early bird also has to wait for it. So, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of weird how we like entered, because the line kind of like splinters when you first, it's like kind of like converges into like one big line in a way. There's like a garage like between the Marriott and the convention center, which is like kind of where the line started. So of course the general admission line is going to be the biggest line, obviously, because everybody's going through that. There are lines if you're like disabled. They're like towards the front, they're closer. So, if you have elderly people coming with you or disabilities, that'll probably be easier for you. I think you could probably mention that on your ticket or your pass, and they'll probably let you in. For like me, who had to pick up his pavilion late, there is a separate line for that, but you still kind of have to walk with the general line. Mm-hmm. And like Akram said, it is a lot of walking. It's very daunting. And the convention center is huge. And keep in mind, when you go in and out, you always have to scan your pass through. They have like these little like kiosk things, and you have to go through security. Of course, that's just standard for like any convention you would go to, right? But just keep that in mind. And there's only like a few places that you can go in and out. So if you're like on one end of the convention center, you might not be able to go back through that way. You might have to go all the way around towards the main entrance. So just keep that in mind, because you'll see in our video how tired we were just walking, especially if it's like a hot day. I mean, thank God the weather was beautiful when we attended it. Also keep that in mind. Also, like weather, if you're going for whatever day. What else, Akram? I feel like I'm flaking out.
No, yeah. I mean, the thing is, there's not one direct way to go to something. They always make you loop back, do circles or whatever. And it's really annoying, but at least you get in pretty quickly. I'd recommend, like, if you have like a backpack or something, or fanny pack, whatever, just bring that with you in case you want to buy something. Comic-Con's weird these days because if you're like a big collector person, for me, I didn't buy anything, honestly, because there weren't anything like there, which is weird to say, but there was not anything there worth getting, honestly.
At least for you. Hey, we see in your room.
Yeah.
You should be selling to Comic-Con.
Yeah, I know, exactly. No, I mean, it's weird. It was really weird, just seeing nothing really there. It was like, well, what can I buy here? But yeah, you get to go to the showroom floor, and that's going to be like your eyes gonna open. It's like so huge, so many people, you could barely walk. You have to like walk on one foot and hop around because it's too packed. And be aware, because sometimes people in front of you are getting in lines, and then you just follow the leader, and you're like this staying in line for no reason. So take your time, experience everything. There's plenty of sights to see, plenty of photo opportunities that you can have. There's not really like famous people, if you're interested in that. From at least the time we were there's not any famous people like really around. You'll see some video game stuff. So, and then there's like this food area on the upper floors where they're selling like pizza and stuff like that. I mean, the line for that was huge too, but you got like a nice view of the whole showroom floor and everything in its entirety through the glass.
Yeah. There's vendors outside too, like selling food. Like
there's vendors everywhere. Yeah, it's everywhere.
We had like this one lady, she was like selling hot dogs, right? Akram ate it by accident.
Baked pork, yeah, forgive me. Yeah.
But yeah, so I'll keep in mind also, it's kind of chaotic how the ushers like direct you, because it's not like you would think like, okay, A to B. It's like you have to go to A to C to B. Yeah, like in a weird way. So like when we went to the showroom floor, you think like, okay, you go through A1, right? You go through this hallway because on the guide it says A1. So you think, okay, you go down this hallway. But sometimes we would go and then the usher would be like, wait, where are you going? Where are you going? Yeah, you got to go through this way, right?
Yes,
So it's kind of weird how they direct you. That's one critique I must have about San Diego. But, once you find the line. That's why I always say like go, or if you're gonna go to panelists, I would say go at least an hour, maybe hour and a half early if you want to skip the line. I mean, they all enter at the same time, but if you want like a guaranteed like seat like towards the front, I would go early.
Yeah, and I also just want to quickly mention that because I also want to show you guys how to actually attend a panel because we were really confused at first because there wasn't really any solid information on that that's updated and current. Yeah, there's also the marina in the back. There might be next time some sites to be seen. The time when we went, there was like this big Hulu animation thing and then this FX network thing that was just showcasing certain things for shows or like an appreciation of previous shows before. So you could check that out. That also, if you're going to get in a line there, that was an immense, huge line. But there's not much you could do outside. So it's restricted to one or two things. There was also like a Dragon Ball Z photo opportunity thing that they had there. It wasn't a big deal. And sometimes you're not even allowed to go up the steps or down the steps or even in the elevator. So sometimes you're going to have to like really find a way to just go around there. So that's what I'm saying. Be prepared to walk because there's no easy way to get to a place. But all right, now I guess if you're watching this, you're also wondering, well, what about attending a Marvel panel, right? That's the big one, Hall H. What about attending DC or something like that?
Star Wars or something. Yeah.
Star Wars. So to my knowledge, these panels, they hold a lot of people, like 1,000 something or more. And previously I discovered that apparently you have to have like this red pass to enter. And so from the video I seen before, this guy goes through some garage and enters the panel. And it's like really interesting how they did that. That may not be the case next time. It's really inconsistent because the writer's strike. What I can tell you is if you attend the panel, make sure when you get your bag, because everyone gets like this free bag, make sure you get that. They maybe will give you a pin and some like necklace thing to hold your badge. Yeah. They'll also include a booklet. And there's 2 booklets. And these are actually guides for you to know. And Dylan has it right here. These, right? That's for this year. These will show you specific times and dates of when to attend a panel, and there's plenty. So I would definitely check if there's like a location, ask somebody, right? Ask one of the ushers. You could recognize them easily, and then they'll tell you. But be prepared. The line, you may think, oh, there's not too many people here. Nope. You got to walk all the way there, probably outside, wait there. And then there's plenty of ushers like directing you.
And let me just throw in something real quick that I think is important to talk about because timing is key.
Yes.
And like I mentioned, you want to be an hour early to something. Don't listen to this book. This is like Sauron. It's the father of lie.
Yeah.
No, I mean it's a basically like a guide to everything that you're gonna see at the con, right? Down from the panelists down to it has a map of the floors that you're walking, right? The only problem I have with it, you guys obviously can't read it, but it'll show you. Okay, so let's like look at a Friday program, for example. It'll say like, oh, so and so Seth MacFarlane's gonna be there at like 11 to 12, right? But it doesn't say if it's like AM or PM on the guy. It just says 11, 12. And I'm thinking like, okay, well everything starts early, so it's probably like an AM thing, right?
Right.
So we were supposed to see the Invincible screening. It was like on a Friday, right? It was supposed to be like early in the morning, and it said like 11 o'clock or something, or 10 o'clock. So I'm thinking, okay, this is probably like at 10 a.m. So we leave early. We left our hotel. We got through the line pretty quickly, right? And ushers don't really like confirm anything for you. Cause I was asking the lady, I was like, okay, is this the Invincible panel? And she was like, oh, I don't know. She kept saying McFarlane. So I was like, is she like, she doesn't know what this is? So sure enough, once we got inside, lo and behold, it ended up being, Todd McFarlane, which I wasn't mad about.
I was so shocked. I was like, what?
A surprise for sure.
Yeah, they put a sleight of hand.
Like, I wasn't mad, but like, imagine if that had been like something else. You know, like something like really dry, and then we just wasted all our time, coming early for that, right?
Right.
So just keep that in mind. The other guide, I think, is more accurate. This is the I don't even know what this is called, but it's kind of like it's like a quick guide. So
It's like
I would
a thinner one too. Yeah, exactly.
yeah. So I would go by this because, of course, I found out about it when we were actually in the showroom.
Right.
There's a whole kind of like Excel sheet, like guide for like every day of the weekend, right? And it's more accurate. It'll like divide up by the different showrooms, right? So you can look at like 6A, for example, who's gonna be there, right? So I think if you want to, I would use this guide to see what's happening, but I would use this guide to see where those happenings are going to be and what time they're going to be.
Exactly. And also, if you want to see multiple, make sure you coordinate, like, okay, maybe this is going to take about an hour or something like that. So it's like, okay, well, I have time for this. If you want to see multiple, I usually think if you want to dedicate one day to the showroom and then the next day dedicate it to, the panels, just attend as many as you want, right? And you get to see celebrities and stuff. I'm not really too sure the rules because I definitely had to have some footage. If you guys seen our movie, you definitely have some footage of like the Todd McFarlane panel and stuff like that. It was really interesting. They'll say it up on the screen, but it's kind of vague. You don't know. It's like a principle thing
with it because they know people are gonna post shit anyway. It's like, what are they going to stop everybody from using their phones? But, yeah. I mean, I was kind of being discreet. Akram was like fucking like out in the open. He was like a red flag. Like waiting for that shit. I was like, oh my god. I hope like because there was an usher in the front. And he was like one of the Mongols from Ghost of Tsushima. He was like walking around the showroom floor. I'm like, oh god, I hope he doesn't catch it. But just don't be obvious with it. Of course, I mean, you could have your phone out probably. Just don't make it like and don't put your flash on or some shit.
Absolutely. And I think also one important thing to mention too is what are you actually bringing to the con and what type of tech are you recording with if you're going to record at all. So I recorded with a GoPro 11 for our movie and Dylan recorded with what's your camera called?
My Canon Rebel T90.
Yeah. So the thing is, they say on a website and they said kind of there that, well, they said it like some guy told us, which I felt very sad for him. Excuse me. You can't have gimbals or you can't have phone sticks or something like that. Selfie sticks. I don't know. I think that's like kind of false. It's probably under some size. They just don't say. Cause I had it was like basically the size of my fist, this handle. And it was just a GoPro. It's like the creator edition. And Dylan didn't have a gimbal. So next time for sure, we're going to bring a gimbal and also I'm going to bring my GoPro thing again. So I don't think they're really strict about that. It can't be something that's like super tall, right. And it's like, wow, like
don't
that.
Bring a fucking like rig or some shit.
Yeah, just be compact if you're going to record. And also definitely bring water. Of course, they sell beverages there. But again, the line is going to be huge. You're going to be getting a line no matter what. It will be huge. It'll be daunting. It'll be like maybe 200 people, 100 people, 50 people, like that sometimes. So definitely bring water. Make sure you're okay with that. They don't really check bags that I've noticed. But of course they have like metal detectors and stuff like that to keep everybody safe.
And every year could be different. You never know.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
All right. Well, trying to think if there's anything else.
Try and think too, because that's pretty much, we went for 2 days and we went to San Diego for 3 days in a way, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
We left on the 4th day, if you will. So the first day to get prepared, we're in San Diego for the first time, got something to eat. Then the next day we wake up early, get there. I tell you what though, the lines, like we went really early the second day and it was just so packed. People were sitting down like this. I was like, holy shit. But then like, if you give it time, everything moves like really fast. Like everyone's going in and out, in and out, in and out. And still there's lines, but I mean, that's if you want to go for somewhere. But if you just want to get around, it's not like you have to wait. Like for us, we were in there. We wanted to get outside. We had to go through so much trouble just to get outside. Either wait online or like find a way. You know, it's just a lot.
Like we were like, I'm
in a Jake Gyllenhaal. Right, exactly. It was too much.
Yeah. Also, it spans throughout the whole day. Like there's panels going up to like 11, 12 o'clock at night. So like I said, if you use this guidebook or both guidebooks and just see, which ones you want to go to, sometimes like things you want to go to may coincide. So you have to prioritize like which one you want to see more. Sometimes it works out because like they're in the same like room. So like we saw like 3 like panelists in like the same room. on a Friday, so it worked out, and they were like back to back. Also, there are things going on outside the convention as well, because the whole city gets involved, which I thought was really cool. There's like a few, but like I said, you also have to coordinate like how far you're walking if you're traveling, whatever. There's like events, like even like the San Diego Library got involved. I wish we would have attended. There was like a podcasting event happening, but like I said, if you're going to be in the convention all day, it's probably not worth it to go see it. The marina has stuff going on too, like Akram said. They have like a whole festival thing. The adult swim festival is pretty cool. I wish we had time to see it. So just keep in mind, it's like walking distance between certain things. You want to coordinate what you really want to see and how close in relation is it to other things that you want to see, right?
Absolutely, yeah, and of course the most important role is just have fun. Don't be stressed out. It is really stressful, especially all the stuff. If you want to see stuff, it may be really daunting and confusing. And there's a lot of cosplayers and stuff that appear a little. If you want to see like the really cool stuff, they appear a little bit later on. We actually seen that from the news when we were eating at a Denny's. We're like, oh, we missed these people, and they just popped out. But yeah, I think if you just really want to experience just the panels in a showroom, definitely the early approach is better. And make sure you ask the ushers questions if you have any, So yeah, I mean, it was a great. I'm sorry. Sorry, it was a great experience overall, So yeah.
It was pretty eventful. It is kind of daunting when you first get there. Like I said, like Thursday and Friday, of course, is going to be the busiest. But that's also when everything, comes out right away. So just keep that in mind. But, if you go with friends, it's even more enjoyable. Like, this year was kind of dry in terms of panelists because of the writer's strike, like we said. But perhaps next year it might be a different story. We don't know. Every year changes, right? So there could be heavy hitters. Oh, also keep in mind, sometimes things you want to see might get canceled.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to see the Gen V reveal for the boys on Prime. And of course they were like promoting it on the vouchers and shit.
And the kiosk too. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, and the kiosk had like all these graphics and shit. So that was the big takeaway for us. But then come to find out, it was canceled, and we didn't find out until like it started. So always, if you don't want to waste time, just have like a backup plan of what you want to do, where you want to go. When you go to the expo showroom, it's pretty big, but it's pretty organized, I must say. Like all of the big contenders are usually like clustered in the center, and then like all like like your artists, your comic book sellers, they're pretty much like laced on the sides.
Yeah.
But they have like a lot of cool like installations. They have like a lot of cool like gaming stuff, cool installations. So if you want pictures and stuff, of course you can record your video while you're on the showroom. So like Akram said, just have fun with it, but just know where everything is, because it's a lot of walking, going to different stuff, so you can get burnt out by the end of the day.
Pretty much, yeah. And if you guys are wondering really fast the price or anything, I believe it's like about, for a normal pass, it's like $175 for like 2 days. It's a little bit cheaper if you pick less days or something like that. I'm sure for 4 days it's a little bit more expensive, but that was the in general price that we paid, right? It was 175 or 75? I think it was 175.
It was 75 per day, I think.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, well, it's not really that bad. I've actually been to local cons that were like more, like some were like $90, so it's not bad, But like I said, just budget. Maybe you guys want to attend the whole weekend. That's fine. You'll get the full experience if you do that. But some people can't afford it, so you want to do just 2 days. I think 2 days is a good frame, because it's like if you want to see panelists on one day and then just experience the showroom on another day. That's kind of like ideal for us. For us, it was actually the opposite. I think what was the first day we just kind of like explored.
Yeah.
And then the second day we ended up like just seeing like all the panelists. Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty cool, especially if like you're like us, you're like if you're a vlogger, content creator, you want to get a lot of content, a lot of the was it like the trailers release. I don't know if you can post anything. They don't make you sign any NDAs as far as we didn't sign anything like when we saw it. But just keep in mind, like I said, don't be obvious, like posting stuff, because they might, catch you and kick you out, and then it's like you wasted your time, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think one important thing I also have to say is if you're going with kids, be sure you take care of them. You make sure you take care of them because you will be swamped by people. They're all over. They're nonstop. They're like tight like that. And it doesn't matter where you're going. I didn't go to use the bathroom at Comic Con. I could only imagine what the bathroom was. So just definitely be careful of your belongings and children, or if somebody's disabled already, take care of them. And then there's like this huge escalator that you could take. I never seen an escalator that has a load weight that's like so high or something, because that escalator is huge, right? So yeah, I think that pretty covered as much of it as possible, right? So
Yeah, I
yeah.
think that's pretty much everything we have to say. Like I said, check out our vlog video. We probably have more about our experience there, like our actual experience. But yeah, and then of course, just have fun, have a good time, just relax. It's a lot, but I think you'll enjoy yourselves. And it's I always wanted to go to San Diego. You might get more out of like a local con. Like we have a fan expo in Philly. I've been to a couple times, but I think San Diego's like the international one, and there's a lot of friendly people there that we were talking to. Like you'll see in our vlog video, I was like interviewing a lot of cosplayers, so you can connect too with other people. So it's a great experience.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, definitely check out our movie. He keeps saying vlog video. Just check out our movie. Definitely split into 3 parts. We'll do a video about that a little bit soon, talking about like the movie and the themes and stuff. So definitely check that out. And also stick around for this video, because now we're going to give you our reactions and what we felt about San Diego in the Houston airport, or the Tennessee airport, matter of fact. So stick around with us.
I thought it was an ambitious day. Well, I already said my piece about it, but I think for the first time going there, it was okay. I kind of knew what to expect. I've been to cons like it before. Obviously not that big or as, many people. But I think I just kind of wanted a little more out of it. I was expecting, obviously, more panels. We didn't get that, obviously, because of the whole SAG strike thing. Maybe they could have got some like B-listers or something, or somebody more, prominent involved. But I feel like even some of the activities were kind of like, whatever. And the lines were like, kind of like disheartening for me. Like I wanted to go to a lot of things, like the Hulu thing.
Yeah, I know.
But they were just so long, as like it wasn't worth it for me just to go there just for like a bag or whatever. So, and then yeah, the whole like lane thing, like where to go when you scan in, it's very confusing and it's very inconsistent from day one to the rest of the days. Because like you said earlier, like Thursday was kind of like loosey-goosey, and they didn't really like care like where you came and where you went. But Friday they were a lot more stricter, and they were telling people like, no, like everybody has to go through like this one point, and if you get stuck like on the other side of it, it's not like you can like go through like some midpoint in the convention center. You have to go like all the way around. So imagine if you're like disabled or you're walking with like some elderly person. It's hard. So it's like little things like that put me off, but I still think the floor was pretty impressive, like the exhibit hall. It's everything like I've seen in like YouTube videos and vlog videos. It's exactly how I imagined it would be. Actually surpassed my expectations. I thought all the installations were cool. All the vendors were cool. I'm glad we got to see some of the toy vendors. I thought they were like really impressive. They're industry names, so that's what you kind of expect with San Diego, is that you get industry names as opposed to like local people. But they have some like smaller vendors too, which I think is cool. So they get everybody involved, right? But like I said, I wish it was just a little more, and I was kind of disappointed with the Gen V thing, especially because they promoted it so much. They even had it on the passes, so I thought for sure we would get something out of that, but they canceled at the last minute, so that was kind of disappointing for me. But like I said, as a first experience, it was okay. It wasn't bad. How about you?
Yeah, it's difficult because the whole it's like underwhelming and overwhelming at the same time.
Yeah, really.
It's like there's a lot of cool things to be happy about there, right? A lot of great things to see. Even if they canceled a lot of panels, a lot of great things to see. But nevertheless, I think it's just too sloppy the way how. I mean, there was an order to the K House, but the order was just monotonous. And honestly, I didn't feel like it was really that safe the way how they're conducting their business, which I'm okay because I needed to carry like my camera stuff, so I'd rather for them not to check me. But like the way how they're conducting it, I think was more, instead of safety, it was just organization. But which is weird because in the beginning, again, it's not. It's really tight knit, and then later on, it's like super loose. And the suck part is it's loose, but because the front, and you guys seen it before, it's like A, B, C, D. So you would think, okay, let me go to A, but no, you have to walk all the way there.
I didn't like that either.
And then when you go there and go up, she says like go to the left, and then you have to go up, and then you go like all this way.
It doesn't make sense. It's like you would think
Yeah.
like A is A, but actually A is B. Like it's so confusing, like the way you have to like maneuver and navigate through the floor. It's so weird how to do it.
And then the collectibles, I mean, the market has changed now, so the market is in the same, like, which I'm fine with that because I think it's more inclusive to get pre-orders, but it is disappointing too because there's not really anything like Comic-Con exclusive. Like Funko's okay, but everything else I could just pre-order. It just has a name, that's it.
If anything, you just window shop.
And then there's a lot of things that didn't come out yet. But like, here's the thing: they put like Comic-Con pre-orders, and you buy it online, but some of the box art doesn't even have the sign from the Comic-Con thing. So it's just you're buying just a regular figure. It just so happened to be revealed at Comic-Con. I don't know. I really. It felt more like if you're an industry insider, that Comic-Con was better for you if like you're in the industry. But like for normal people, just try and have fun. I mean, it's a grueling experience, to be honest. And you're going to wait for hours, walk for hours. The lines are... To get, like, sandwiches, the line is absolutely... Yeah, it's like at least 200 people minimum. It's absolute... But if you go with a buddy or something like that, and you guys plan the whole thing, it'll be really fun, I think. But by the end, you'll have good memories, at least. You know? And the showroom floor is, like... You'll get super close, as you guys saw, but
That was one thing I liked was the panels. Like if you got there early enough, you can get like really close to like some of the panelists, and the screens are pretty big too. So even if you're like towards the back, you get like a good view of like who the panelists are. The projections are really loud too, and it was
really loud. That one guy.
yeah, shit. That shit's scary. Yeah, that was like blew my face off or some shit. So I thought the panel rooms themselves were cool. It's just navigating to them was kind of difficult. And even the guidebook, which I'll probably talk about more in our like reaction video, it's kind of confusing as to how they lay it out because okay, so they organize it by day and they list all the time events. There's one book that they gave, it's like the whole guide, and then there's another like magazine thing, it's like the quick guide. So it was like it wasn't cohesive because one thing said this time but it didn't say if it was like AM or PM. That's why we got fucked over with the Todd McFarlane thing. I mean, it was still cool that we went, but we thought it was going to be the Invincible screening, so they didn't specify whether it was 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. So we went in early thinking it was going to be 10 a.m. Come to find out when you get there it's 10 p.m. So they really need to fix that issue on their part, because I think if you're going there for the first time, and especially if you're not planning to stay there the whole day, it'll pretty much ruin your whole itinerary.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I think it's just a big mess if you're not prepared in general. Like, don't come there and you want to go showroom floor. If you go early, you're gonna have to wait in line for a lot. I would even suggest just go at like 12 over there at their time, like 12 p.m. If you don't really care to plan, you just want to walk around. But that's not really the point. The point is like, look at the cosplayers, collectible, like get the whole experience, because it is expensive at the end of the day. And an Uber, Uber now is like super expensive. That area too, like the Uber is a little bit more expensive, especially around that time. Like the food too. Like that's the things you guys have to think about, is the Airbnb or hotel or motel, wherever you stay, the Uber. So you're spending, by the end of the experience, if you bought the stuff at Comic-Con, at least if you're on a budget, like $700. that's like the budget. Now, if you went a little bit more loosey goosey, then you could go up to like 1,000 something, close to 2,000.
And if you got fucked over like us with like hotel bookings and they screw you over, you know, that's another expense you're gonna have to think about. If you get, you know, something last minute, you have to book somewhere, and how close you are to the location. Honestly, next year, if I go next year or anytime in the future, I would honestly just book at the Marriott itself because it's already there at the convention and it's close to everything. Even if it's a little bit pricier, I think it's worth it, to be honest, because you're already there and you're already near the airport. So it's not like you have to travel far and spend all this money on cabs and food, and so you're already in that district. So for me, I think it's worth it just to be at the location itself.
Yeah, and the Marriott has like little restaurants inside of it too, so it's not bad. It's an okay place. I don't know how pricey it is. I don't know any details really about the Marriott. I thought I just saw the British guy from 28 Weeks Later right there. Look, right there. I thought that was him. I'm not gonna show you guys because then I have to get him to sign the NDA. But no, yeah, I mean, and it's not really walking distance because they're gonna like you could walk. It's not like it's Comic-Con's like so confusing because it's like it is and it isn't. It's like it is walking distance, but you feel like it really isn't because you have to like go super far. You know, and then also if you're gonna order Uber, you have to go past this bridge to make it easier because they closed down everything. And there's some restaurants around the area too.
Yeah, another thing is like well, I think this is a good thing and a bad thing. The good thing is like the whole city gets involved. So like there's some events at the museum and like the central library. So I think it's cool that the whole city gets involved. So I hope you guys got something out of that. Like I said, every experience is different, but I hope this video, you know, gave you a lot of insight into our experience, and hopefully it'll help you on your journey if you ever wish to attend Comic-Con. But yeah, guys, this was a great video to discuss. I hope you learned a lot. Leave a like, sub. If you enjoyed this video, if you thought it was helpful, let us know. If there's anything that you could add also to this video, let us know as well. But Akram, why don't you take us away?
Yeah, make sure to comment if you have anything. Just comment it down below so we could all help each other out, because the videos are really scarce on what to do at Comic-Con or how to even attend it and go to the panels and stuff. So we hope that this is a really in-depth look at it, at least from our point of view. And yes, if you're new to this channel, we have plenty of reviews, reactions, so many things to check out. Please enjoy all of our content. Drop a like in this video. We care for you. We love you. We appreciate you. And Dylan, say the thing.
Well, guys, until then, thanks for having lunch with us.
See you guys.